BWF Solicitors, we take pride in our clients' service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. BWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So lovely to see you this afternoon. This is Heritage TV hanging out with Vicky. Today is our legal hour. We do that every Saturday afternoon from 12. And we do have this program with our sponsors, BWF Solicitors, your number 1 law firm. Today we're going to be discussing making an application for further leave to remain on family life. Before I introduce our guests, I would like to take this opportunity to quickly wish my lovely lady Nana Sewa. Yesterday was her birthday. I would like to give you a shout out. Happy birthday to you, Nana Sewa. Wishing you long life and prosperity. And apart from BWF sponsoring this program, we have 2 other sponsors, which are Victon Estates Limited, your number 1 property agency, specializing in management, sales, and lettings. So if you have any property queries, look nowhere else. Contact Victon Estates on 0744 8619 711. And the next sponsor is Eagle Heights International School, your number 1 maths tuition center, catering for children from year 6 to 13 plus. You can contact the team on 07543 707121. Right. Let me introduce our very own lawyer Eunice. Lawyer Eunice. Hello, Lawyer Eunice. Hi.
Hello.
I'm always happy to see you every Saturday, 12, because it's not easy being a mom and a professional person, working Monday to Friday. Then on Saturday that you need to spend a little bit time with the whole family, you decide to spend a few minutes to an hour with us to educate us, impact us as well. So we very much appreciate the sacrifice. Yes.
I appreciate you.
Yes, in my introduction, I did say that what we're going to discuss today is making an application for further leave to remain based on family life.
Yes, and that's one of the topics that a lot of people also are interested in. We would generally call those human rights applications based on somebody's family life. And so when you say you are making an application based on your family life, you're looking at something that we call a human rights application. And usually this is like an Article 8 application rather than a purely Article 8 application, but it's
Okay.
been embedded or it's been ingrained in our immigration rules such that people who have spouses or children in the UK that are British, or parents who are British or settled can make an application based on those family ties. So it's one of
Okay.
those topics that a lot of people are interested in. Yeah.
Okay. Great. 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 Um, I have a scenario here. If you can help us with this. This person is saying, I lived in the UK now. I've lived here for 8 years without regularizing my stay. I'm now married to a lady who is a British citizen. I made an application and it was refused. Do I lodge an appeal?
Mm. So in this case, usually our first rule of thumb was to look at the immigration rules and what they say about applying as a person who is a partner or a spouse of a British citizen.
Yeah.
So when you look at Appendix F of our immigration rules, it will describe under Gen 1.2 who a partner is. So a partner will be somebody who you've lived with for a period of 2 years or more, or somebody who you are married to. So even if you've lived less than 2 years with that person and you're married to that person will still be considered as your partner. And in this case, this person is saying he's now married to somebody who is a British citizen and he's made the application, but the application has been refused. So when you look at our Appendix FM, there are a list of requirements there, and somebody who is applying as a partner will definitely have to meet those requirements in order for their application to be successful. So when you look at Appendix FM applying as a partner, first of all, you have the suitability requirements where the person should not have any criminal convictions. Usually, if you do, the time has to be spent depending on whatever convictions you have. And then also, for instance, if you've been you're owing the NHS and you haven't made any attempts to pay as well, those things will
Oh,
also
okay.
be considered as well. Um, as much as possible, you should be making some efforts to make payments in terms of your
Payments.
NHS, or if you have any litigation debts, so you owe the courts some money and you still haven't been able to pay it, those will also come under the suitability requirements. Or you've been asked to basically follow certain conditions and you haven't followed certain conditions, those things will all be considered as part of the suitability requirements in the application. And then they will come on to whether you have a relationship with this person. So this person is saying that he's married, and obviously this person that he's married to is a British citizen. When you look
Yeah.
at our immigration rules, it will say that if you're in a relationship with this person, that person who is British must be in the UK. Both of you must not be obviously under the age of 18. You must be in a genuine and subsisting relationship with each other. And you also will have to show that you are married. If you say you are married, you will have to show evidence that you are also married. And as all married couples do, you will have evidence that you are living together as well. Once you've presented them with the evidence of your marriage certificate, proof of addresses, then you go on to our immigration requirement. In this case, this person, I'm assuming, has no leave to remain in the UK. And so if you are making this application and you have to meet the immigration requirements, they are looking to see that you are not a visitor and you haven't got any leave which is 6 months or less. Your leave is still extant. And so somebody who hasn't got leave whatsoever, you would usually see the appendix saying that you can have this requirement, should I say, waived if you meet EX1, A or B.
Okay.
So, what is EX1, A or B? So, that is your exceptional circumstance 1A or B. And in exceptional circumstances, you're looking at whether there's a child in the relationship, and whether there's a genuine and subsistent relationship with a
Yes, yes.
child in that relationship, and whether it will be unreasonable for that child to leave the UK. Then when you look at B, it talks about the fact that you are in a genuine and subsistent relationship with a partner, and there are insurmountable obstacles. So when they say insurmountable obstacles, they are trying to say that there are great difficulties that will prevent the British national or the settled person from going back to the country in which the applicant is from. So
Okay.
usually when you are looking at a partner and there are no children, you will either have to meet the exceptional circumstances A or B in order for certain requirements to be waived off. If in this case the applicant was making the application and didn't meet any of the exceptions, then that would mean that they would not be able to obviously have the immigration requirement waived off in this instance. And then the other requirements are the financial requirements that the sponsor or the British national will have to meet the 18,600 a year for the financial threshold to be met. And then the applicant will also have to do an English language test if they are not from an English speaking country, or if they don't have an undergrad degree that was taught in English that has been confirmed by NARIC if it was done outside the UK.
Okay.
Those requirements are all part of what the Home Office caseworker will be looking at to see if they can grant you leave to remain. So if you meet the relationship requirements and you don't meet the immigration requirements, or you don't meet the financial requirements, or you don't meet the English language requirements, and you are able to show that you are able to meet one of the exceptions, so either you meet the exception A or you meet the exception 1B,
B.
then they can obviously grant you leave on the 10-year route. If you don't meet any of the exceptions, that means that obviously your your application will be refused, because you don't meet the requirements, you don't meet any of the exceptions, and therefore they have no choice but to refuse your application. And usually in cases like this, once the application is refused, you'll be given a right of appeal. Once you are given a right of appeal, that means that you have that right to lodge an appeal within 14 days to the tribunal, the first tier tribunal. He's asking if he can lodge an appeal. He can lodge an appeal, of course, and make sure that for whatever reason, if he was refused, I don't know why he was refused, but if based on the requirements that I've given, he does not meet any of those requirements and he does not meet any of those exceptions, then he will have to find a way to argue that there are great difficulties under Article 8, and basically because his application has been refused, it will be very difficult for him and his partner to return back to whichever country he is from, for them to now obviously have that fairness or that right to live in the UK. In terms of going forward with such an appeal, it is very difficult to find evidence if you were not able to meet the exceptions in the first instance. So that means that you are trying to find evidence that maybe the spouse that you're married to has lived there all their life, their family and every known extended family member is here in the UK, they should consider the fact that the person has social ties, sorry, and their
Mm-hmm.
family is here in the UK, their cultural ties are here, they've worked here for a long time. And then things like the fact that that person has never ever lived in any other country apart from the UK. If you're talking about great difficulties, obviously somebody who hasn't lived in any other country can make a decision to go and live in another country for a few years if they wanted to.
Okay.
In this
Okay.
case, what will make it difficult for this British national to not go and live in another country? Maybe they have certain illnesses, they have what you will call terminal illnesses, and so for
Okay.
whatever reason they cannot get the treatment back in the country in which the applicant is from, and therefore
From.
yeah it is going to be difficult for that person to uproot their lives and go and live in a country where they will not have access to good treatment, they will not have access to medication, because over here we have the NHS, and so certain things are gotten on the NHS rather than paying for it.
Mm,
You have the
mm.
NHIS in Ghana, but for most people, you will have to pay for the medication. I
Okay.
know that those that are pensioners will get certain medications apparently for free, but on the ground, most people tell you nothing is for free in Ghana. You will have people paying for it, and there are certain
Okay.
treatments that you will be able to get on the NHIS, for instance, in Ghana, but you will not have it
Have it.
for every patient,
Mm,
and so those are factors that they will consider in terms of your appeal. And if they
mm.
still believe that your should I say your submissions or arguments based on the fact that this person cannot move from the UK to the country that you are from is weak, unfortunately,
Mm.
that application, I mean, that appeal will also be dismissed.
Oh,
So,
okay.
in such instances, it's rather easier for somebody who is in that position to make an application from abroad. So they go back to the country in which they are from, and then
Yep.
they make the application from there. And then they can say that, well, I'm now making the application from outside the UK. I'm able to meet the requirements that you've just stated, which is the relationship requirements, the English language requirements, and the financial requirements. Because
Okay.
I'm able to meet those requirements, um, can you please give me leave to enter as the spouse of a British national? And most people
Mm.
will think, oh, because I was illegal in the first instance, does that mean that I'll have to wait for a certain period of time before I can make that application? Not necessarily. Usually, once you are able to show that you are married to a British national, we have
You have the
paragraph
okay.
320A, which states that there'll be no ban to somebody who is making a genuine application as a family, I mean, a partner of a British national or a British spouse. So, in that instance, because you will not have any ban or um, should I say restriction based on that application, as soon as you submit such an application, they would consider it as as a person who is making an application based on that British spouse, and then you will be granted
Okay.
leave,
We'll be
yeah,
granted leave. Okay.
leave
All right.
to enter
That's great.
into the UK.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, just to um, obviously cut that answer short, if that person wants to lodge an appeal, yes, they can lodge an appeal. They should have evidence that it will be very difficult for that person to reside in whichever country that they will be going back to. And
Okay.
if they don't have enough evidence to show that, then it is better that they go back to their country of origin and then make the application from there. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I've got another viewer who is also sent in another question. This he says that a few days ago, my daughter was born into this world. Her mother has indefinite leave to remain and will be applying for a British passport for our little girl. I don't live with them. Can I still make an application for further leave to remain?
Yes. So the reason why I say yes is because of the fact that this man obviously now has a child, has a daughter in the
Okay.
UK. And when you look at Appendix FM again, I think I'll be referring to Appendix FM a lot
Appendix
today.
FM, yeah.
So when you look at our immigration rules, Appendix FM, it will tell you that if you want to apply for leave to remain as a parent in the UK,
Yeah.
you would have to make sure that the child obviously is within the UK and the child is under the age of 18. And all of this, he said that the child is. And so when he's making this application, another requirement will be the relationship requirement. And he will have to show that he has some parental relationship with this child. So either that he has sole parental relationship with this child, or the child normally lives with him, or he has direct
Okay.
access to this child. So right now, the child does not live with him. He lives separately from the child's mother, and he wants to make an application with the fact that he has a child who is British. Of course, he can make the application. So, on the relationship requirement, the child is under 18, the child is in the UK, the father has direct access to this child, and he can provide evidence to show that he has direct access to this child. So, the mother can write a supporting letter to say that the father comes to look after the baby. He comes to bath the baby. He comes to care for the baby when the mother is away and all of that. And then it's also good to have a letter from an official source as well. So if the child is registered to a GP, usually most GPs will ask for an emergency contact or a next of kin when you register the child. So right there and then, once the child is registered to the GP surgery, you put the father's details on the system so that they know that the child's father is the next of kin or is an emergency contact in case anything should happen to that child. And usually, fathers don't mind, going with the mother to have the child's inoculations or what we call the vaccinations taken.
Yeah.
And so there'll be instances where the father will want to do that with the baby. Yes, so he can show that he has direct access to this child. He can provide letters from, the GP and the child's mother to also add the fact to the fact that this somebody that he has direct access with. He may not meet the immigration requirements because he may not even have leave in the UK, but he should be able to show that exception 1A or B will apply in this case. So, as I previously said, exception 1A is the fact that he has a genuine and substantial relationship with a qualifying child who is either British or the child has lived here for 7 years continuous period before the application, and or the child is settled in the UK. So in these cases, we are saying that it will be very unreasonable for that child to return back to the father's country if the application were to be refused. What will make it unreasonable for this child to return back to the country of origin for of this father. So when you're looking at unreasonableness, there's always a proportionality test that is being taken. And there's been so many case laws like Senade and other case laws that have looked at the reasonable test and whether you can say that, of course, when you're talking about whether it is reasonable for a child to go back to the parents' country of origin, especially if that child is a British child, you are telling that child to forego all his rights that come with being British to go to a country where his father or his mother is from, and in this case, his father. When you look at the scenario, the child's mother is still in this country. Would you say that it is unreasonable for this child to go back to that country of origin where the father is from? Of course, because the child is British, the child has rights as a British citizen in this country, and that child cannot just be uprooted from their country of origin to another country just because the Home Office chooses to refuse that person's application. And so in this case, because it's quite, should I say, a subjective test, in that case, most applications that are made based on whether it will be unreasonable for the child to leave the UK back to the country of origin of the father, the test is usually met. So once an application is submitted and the relationship requirement is met, so the father is able to show that they have a relationship with this child, they have direct access. Although they do not meet the immigration requirements, they do not meet the financial requirements, they do not meet the English language requirements, they are still able to say that the exception 1A applies in this case, and therefore leave would usually be granted. Leave will usually be granted to them in such a scenario. And so most applications, almost all applications that are made based on the father having direct access to the child would usually be granted 30 months leave to remain. So that is something that the father can also look forward to doing if they were to make the application. Yeah.
Okay. With those two questions that was given us by our viewers, I realized that the determining factor is the children, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Okay.
a lot of the time, when you look at the fact that our immigration rules, when it's sectioned, I mean, in terms of human rights, when it's looked at, it's when you're looking at the fact that somebody has
Facts.
family life, you're looking at whether they have a spouse, you're looking at whether there's a child, you're looking at whether there's a parent. And a lot of the time, you realize that when the immigration rules were made, they made it in such a way that it will favor a lot of the children rather than the adults per se. I remember one
I
client came
see.
to me and she said, "Why is it that children have a lot of power in this country?" And I said,
Yeah.
and I said to her, maybe it's because they are vulnerable people. They are more vulnerable than me and you, the adult. At least me and you can do something about a situation, whereas the child cannot do much. So
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of laws protect the children. And something that I've also forgot to mention is the fact that the Home Office has a right to look at the best interest of that child as
Of the
well.
child.
And so
Yes.
under Section 55 of our Borders and Immigration and Citizenship Act, they have that obligation to look at the best interest of each child
Each
in
child.
any given case. And so, if the best interest of the child is to also remain here in the UK and also be brought up here and also have the rights that they should enjoy as British citizens, then of course, why should they be deprived of those rights? And so that's
Exactly.
another thing that they have to consider when they are looking at applications like that. You don't have
Mm.
anything like that for adults. It's all for the
It's
children.
amazing.
So so it's good that children have that power, and then we
Mm,
as parents
mm,
can also rely on it as well to make sure that we are giving them the best that we can as well. So yes, it's good that you made that
mm,
observation that children are the
mm.
determining factor in all of this.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes. I keep getting a lot of questions coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still watching us, this is hanging out with Vicky on Heritage TV with my learned lawyer, solicitor, and partner of BWF Solicitors, lawyer Eunice Champong. And we are talking about making an application for further leave to remain based on family life. If you want to contribute, ask a question, please send us all your questions on Facebook, YouTube, on all social media handles. We have our studio line as 0203 9833553. The number again is 0203 9833553. Give us a call and we'll also pick up and answer all your questions. So please keep the questions flowing. Um, I've got some few here that I'm reading, so take this opportunity, or else you would have to go in and pay consultation fee to ask these questions. So, just send your questions and you wouldn't have to go and pay consultation. Please. Am I not right, Lawyer Eunice?
Of course, this is the free legal hour. So of course,
Yes,
people
yes,
can
yes,
ask as
yes,
many
yes, yes.
questions as they would like
As you were
within.
like, yeah, 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 yeah. Lawyer Eunice, I've got another question coming. This viewer is saying, in fact, doesn't want me to mention her name. I have lived here for 12 years. I have been in a relationship with my partner for 4 years now. She has 2 children from a previous relationship. Can I rely on my partner to apply for leave to remain in the UK?
Okay, so in this case, the person is saying that they currently are in a relationship with this lady who has children from a previous relationship, and that person also has obviously British citizenship or is settled in the UK,
Yeah.
and therefore they want to be able to make an application based on this partner. So, as I was saying in the beginning, that usually a partner will be somebody who you've lived with for 2 years or more, or somebody who you are married to under our Gen 1.2 of the immigration rules. And in this case, he says he's lived with that partner for about 4 years now and wants to be able to make an application based on this partner. In this scenario, because that person has lived with this spouse, or should I say this partner, for the past 4 years, they can provide evidence to show that they've lived together for 2 years or more. And so, any sort of proof of address that they may have as individuals or with joint names on there, they can provide to show that indeed they are in a genuine and subsisting relationship. And in this case as well, just like the one before, they will have to meet certain immigration requirements, which include the fact that they are in a relationship, um, they both haven't, they are not still married, or they haven't still got previous relationships also. So in a case like this, if they were previously married, obviously they will need to show whether they've now obviously been separated from this other spouse, and they've made even if they haven't yet gone through a divorce, at least they should have some evidence that they are now separated from the other spouse and are currently in this relationship. So they would look and assess on how genuine this relationship is with
Chip
this
is.
person. Yes. And then you also have the fact that they are not, should I say, under 18 or whatever. Um, in this case, because the spouse has children from a previous relationship, I'm assuming that they are both above the age of 18. And then you also have the fact that they intend to both live in the UK. So if you are saying that you are living together with this person and you both, should I say, share a home, then everything regarding the evidence that you provide will show that you are indeed in a genuine relationship with this person. And I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe they've tried having children, but they are not having any
You
child
haven't.
at the moment. So in this case, he wants to find out if he can make an application based on just the partner. And usually, with our immigration rules, you have the guidance, which is the Family Life and Exceptional Circumstance 5-year route, 10-year route guidance, stating that applications that are being made will generally be looked at in this procedure. So they will first consider whether there is a partner, and then they will consider the requirements under the partner route. And then if there are any children, then they will go on to consider the children secondly. So if you are in a route where you meet the requirements of the partner route, they will generally say to you, then don't make an application based on the child. Don't make an application based on the fact that you're a parent. So we will first consider the fact that you're a partner, and then if you don't meet those requirements, obviously you have the exceptions A and B, and how they can also look at those requirements if you don't meet the requirements as a partner. So once he is able to show that he's in a genuine and subsistent relationship with this partner, they'll be looking at whether he can meet the immigration requirement, whether he can meet the financial requirements of 18,600, and whether he can meet the English language test if he is not from an English speaking country and hasn't done an undergraduate degree.
Okay.
He has to have ISL, which is English speaking and listening, at all A1.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
if he obviously would like to progress onto the 5-year route sometime later, whether he's able to meet it at a level A2. So in this
Okay.
instance, if he's not able to meet all of those requirements and he's able to show that he meets the exceptions, which is either the exception A, where the fact he's saying that he's got his stepchildren living with him, he will have to show that he has a genuine and subsistent relationship with these stepchildren. And so
Okay.
it could be that he may be taking the children to school. It could be that he is registered as an emergency contact on the children's GP
GP.
surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be the fact that he attends parents' evening for these children. And so all these letters can be gotten from the school and the GP to verify the fact that he has a genuine and subsistent relationship with these children who are under the age of 18. If he is able to meet that exceptional circumstance, then obviously they would look to grant him leave to remain on the 10-year route. This is something that obviously he can switch from the 10-year route to the 5-year route later on if he is able to meet all the other requirements. So if for any reason after a period of time he's able to get some work, he's able to show that he's able to meet the requirements for the partner route, so he's now earning 18,600 a year, and he's able to provide 6 months bank statement, 6 months pay slip, letter from the employer, and and also the fact that his English language test has been done, so he meets that level A2 requirement. Then after a period of, let's say, 6 months, he can switch from the 10-year route to the 5-year route because he now meets all the other requirements that I've just mentioned. And so that is also something that he can look forward to once he makes the application based on his partner. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, time is flying so quick, and we've got so many questions. I'll try my very best to get the questions across to Lawyer Eunice. Lawyer Eunice, quick one.
Yes.
The next question is, I was given 5 years residence card as a dependent on my uncle, who later was nowhere to be found. Wow.
Mm.
I now have a child who is British and would like to apply for leave to remain using my child, and would like to apply for leave to, okay, using my child. Does it mean after 5 years I can apply for leave to remain?
Mm. Okay, so in this instance, I'm guessing that because she's
A
done the 5 years
dependent.
residence card,
Yeah.
yeah, as a dependent, and because she can't find the uncle, so she's not able to do the application
Application.
based on the EU, yeah, the EU regulations. And so
Yes.
in that instance, obviously, if you haven't got evidence to show you're still dependent on that person, and you now have this route available to you, why not? One thing that I would also want to explain is the fact that applications done based on the EU regulations, as we all know, are a matter of right. So under
Okay.
EU law, once you move from one member state to the other member state, you can reside there if you are able to show that you are either a worker or somebody who is self-sufficient, who has medical insurance, or somebody who is self-employed, or somebody who is a student but is still has still got um, medical insurance. You can
Okay.
reside in any member state whatsoever. Um, Once you, as an EU national, then decide to invite your family members or let your family members join you, you still have to meet those same requirements. And in this instance, her uncle is nowhere to be found, and the confirmation that she has on the card is just a confirmation of her right. It doesn't give her any leave per se. It just confirms her right to reside here as a dependent of an EU national. Whereas
Okay.
when you come to the immigration rules, they are conferring on you a leave. So you have no immigration status, but once you make an application, then they are telling you you now have the leave here to remain. So
Okay.
it's different in the sense that it's not a right. It's not something that you can do without. Whereas somebody who is an EU national can do without the card if they so wish. In
Okay.
the immigration rules, every application that you make is based on the fact that you are making that application so that the Home Secretary will give you that leave to remain in this country. Otherwise,
Okay.
anybody who is an illegal entrant or anybody who is an overstayer, it's basically a criminal offense under the law. So this person who now wants to switch from the EU regulations to
Yeah.
the immigration rules is saying that they now have to make this application based on this child that is a British citizen. And this child obviously meets the relationship requirements under the immigration rules because they are British and they are under the age of 18 because she said she just had the child and they are living in the UK. So if the mother can show that she has sole parental responsibility for this child and that she's able to provide evidence that she has that sole parental responsibility, so it could be letters from the GP, any medical letters for the child as well, to show that they both live at the same address and she has care for this child. And then she will have to also show the other requirements that I previously mentioned. If she's not able to meet the immigration or the maintenance requirement or the English language requirement, she has to meet the exceptions under 1A or 1B. So she will
Okay.
have to show that it will be reasonable for this child who she has a genuine and subsistent relationship with to leave the UK with her if her application were to be refused. And usually in those
Okay.
cases, once you're able to show that the child is British, that application or leave will be granted to you. If after 2.5 years she plans on going on another 2.5 years,
2.5
so
years.
usually if you are not able to meet the main requirements but you meet the exceptions, they will grant you leave on the 10-year route. If she wants to switch from the 10-year route to the 5-year route, then she will have to show that she meets the immigration requirements,
Okay.
she meets the
Okay.
English language
Okay.
requirement, she meets the maintenance requirement to
Mm.
switch from the 10-year route to the 5-year route. And
Okay.
then obviously, if she's able to complete 5 years on the 5-year route, she can apply for indefinite leave to remain. Most people sometimes think that because they had 5 years on the EU route, it's automatic that once they have another 5 years on the what do you call it, the immigration rules as a
Can
parent,
apply
they
to,
will be
yeah,
able to then
to apply for
apply
indefinite.
immediately for indefinite leave to remain. But considering the fact that her first 2.5 years was given on the 10-year route, if she is to switch, let's say after a while from the 10-year route to the 5-year route, the 2.5 given on the 10-year route doesn't count towards the 2.5 years that will be given on the 5-year route. They are
Okay.
two separate routes. So once 2.5 years has been done on the 10-year route and you've switched on to the 5-year route, 2.5 years on the 5-year route will have to be given 2 times for you to complete the 5-year route
Yeah.
to make an
Yeah.
application for indefinite leave to remain.
Okay.
You can't
Okay.
do it. You can't do it as a combination. So if for any reason you've done 2.5 years on the 10-year route and you've done another 2.5 years on the 10-year route, and you think because I've done 5 years on the 10-year route and I also had 5 years on the EU route, so automatically I should be given 10 years lawful residence. It's not as
Exactly.
straightforward as that. So those are things that obviously you will have to see a solicitor about in order to get the right advice in terms of making an indefinite leave to remain application afterwards. So in that sense, that person will either have to say that, do you know what, I want to stay on the 10-year route or I want to stay on the 5-year route. And for some people, maybe they would later on want recourse to public funds because they can't meet certain maintenance requirements. And so once you are put on recourse to public funds, that means that you can't meet the maintenance requirements, and therefore you will be put on the 10-year route whenever you apply, unless you are ready to say that you are working and you will be able to meet the maintenance requirements, then you can switch on to the 5-year route. But in cases like this, you always have to seek advice so that you know the right way forward in making such application. Yes.
Okay. All right. Because of time, the final question. I was 16 years old when I arrived in the UK as a child of my father, who is British. I was given 2.5 years leave to remain. I am now 18. Can I still apply for leave to remain?
Okay, so in this instance, this is a child who has come from outside the UK and is living with his father. So usually when a child says that they've been given 2.5 years, that means that the British national, who is the father, may have
Yes.
brought a spouse or a
Yeah.
partner on a leave which is 2.5 years, and that's
Mhm.
why this child has also been granted 2.5 years leave to remain. The immigration rules is, should I say, worded in such a way that if the spouse of the British national is coming in as the spouse, they will be granted leave to remain on the 5-year route. And then if there is an additional child, they would also consider that child to have leave to remain just as the partner or the spouse of this British national. And so that child will be granted a 2.5 leave to remain when they are coming into the UK. It might not necessarily be they are coming in with the spouse or the partner. It might be that sometime after they came to the UK with 2.5 years leave, but the Home Office will always have that information if the partner was granted 2.5 years leave before. So this child, he's now turned 18 and he's thinking, how do I continue on this 2.5 year leave? Because the immigration rules, when you're applying as a child of a parent who is British, would usually state that you have to make sure that the child is still under the age of 18, unless when the first application or the entry class application was made, that child was under the age of 18. And
18.
currently, if the child is 18, he or she is not living an independent life, or is not living independently. So if the child is now over the age of 18 and is not seen to be living an independent life, and then they see that the first entry application or leave was granted when the child was under the age of 18, that child can proceed to make an application even though they are 18, on the basis of the fact that
Okay.
their father is a British citizen. So they would be granted a further 2.5 years. Evidences that they can provide to show this will be the fact that they are obviously living under the same roof with their parents. So even if they are
Okay.
in university, their letters and other proof of addresses go through the parents' house. They usually come home during the holidays anyway, and everything that the child needs, the father will also provide. So sometimes maybe it could be that the father is, putting money into the child's account for any reason. Maybe the father might be paying, I don't know, the child's mobile phone bill or whatever, because sometimes you will have it in your mind that there are certain things that you need to focus on. You might not necessarily have a part-time job when you're at uni. So the father or the
Okay.
parent will still be helping the child. So the child can provide evidence of all of this, and then obviously make the application for further leave, showing that the father is a British citizen and they are able to meet the previous requirements, whether it was based on the spouse of the British national who was coming in. So if there's a financial requirement to be met, it will be the fact that the 18,600, now there's an additional charge. It will
Okay.
be an additional £3,800. So that
Wow. Okay.
requirement of 22,400 will have to be met. And then the child, obviously, because they first entered when they were under the age of 18, they didn't have any English language requirements to be met. So they wouldn't have any English language requirements to meet now. And they will still have to show that they are also still in a relationship, or they have a genuine relationship with this parent of theirs. The birth
Okay.
certificate, of course, will show that their parents is who they say they are, and the
Oh,
proof of
okay.
address will also go on to show that they are still residing under the same roof as well. So all
Oh,
of
okay.
this, once the child is able to provide this evidence, they will be able to make the application for further leave to remain in the UK as a child of a parent who is British. Yeah.
Okay. Laura Eunice, this was going to be my very last question, but I'll have to because our time is up. But this
Mm,
question is very, very interesting. I realize that this question is the other way around. The reason why I'm
mm,
saying it's the other way around is because all the questions that we've gone through, we realize that, like as I mentioned,
mm,
the success of the application is dependent of the child being British. Now, with
mm,
this question, is the other way around. So let me give you a scenario. Um,
mm,
a lady said she and her husband took a young lady in to live with them,
mm,
and this lady, lived with them about for 5 years. During that five
mm,
years, she had um,
mm.
a child who is British. Unfortunately,
Okay.
this lady had a mental condition, which means she has now been
Mm,
sectioned. Now, the lady and her husband now are caring for the child. Can they make an
mm,
application? Rely on this child to make an application?
mm. Okay. So that is a lot to take in. So based
Exactly.
on this, um, should I say tenant that was living with them, the tenant has had a child and the tenant has now been sectioned due to their mental state of mind.
Health.
And now the child has been left in their care because no relatives, are known. And so they have to care for this child. Um, in this case, obviously, um, well done to those who are also caring for the child because it wasn't something they were expecting, but they've
Yeah.
had to take on that responsibility as well.
Yeah.
When you look at our immigration rules, uh, when you're making an application based on the fact that you are a parent of a child who is British or who is settled in the UK, usually a parent is not just the biological parent of that child. So you are not just looking at the fact that it's only the birth parents of the child who will be able to make an application. So our immigration rules go on to state who a parent is, and that includes a stepfather, a stepmother, an adopted mother, an adopted father, and also somebody who is a foster carer or somebody who is a guardian to a
Okay.
child. So it could also be that the first person has a relative here, and because the biological parents, are unable or not fit to look after the child, this child is also being looked after by a relative.
Yeah.
So it opens up, should I say, the spectrum of people who can then make an application as a parent of a child who is in the UK. So in this case, they are not the biological parents of this child. They they would like to have leave to remain in the UK, and they are thinking about using the fact that they are now the child's main carers as a basis for which they can make the application based on this child. Then again, they'll also have to show that they have care for this child. So they'll have to show that the child obviously is in education, if the child is a child who could be in education, and therefore they can get letters from the school to show that they have that evidence of parental relationship with this child, either that they have sole parental relationship with the child, or they can provide evidence to show that the child normally lives with them. Because in this case, we know that the child is living with them and has no other relatives, then of course, if they have sole parental relationship for this child, they will have to provide evidence such as the school letter, the GP letter, and then
Okay. Okay.
any other evidence to show that they have
Okay.
sole parental
Okay.
relationship for this
Okay.
child.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
will be the same rule
Okay.
as somebody
Okay.
who acts as a
Okay.
parent.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
So
so much, Lawyer Eunice. It's very much appreciated. You really did justice to this topic. Before we end the show, do you have any news flash from the Home Office for us?
okay, so in terms of our further leave to remain applications, as I was just speaking about, most of the applications that we do will have an application fee and an immigration health surcharge. When you're making that application, you would usually have to show that you can pay for both the application fee and the immigration health surcharge. And there was obviously news back last year that they were going to increase the immigration health surcharge. So when Johnson and his government came into power, one of the first announcements they made was to increase the immigration health surcharge, and that was due to increase on the 1st of October. And currently they're saying that because of the fact that it hasn't been made law,
Okay.
when it happens that it is made law, which is usually that the minister will sign that the bill, which has gone through the Commons and the House of Lords, should now be seen as law. Then 21 days from the day that this bill is signed into law, then the immigration health surcharge will come into force. So at the moment, it hasn't been signed, so it hasn't been made law. So once it is signed, they're saying that we have 21 days from the time it is signed into law for this immigration health surcharge to be effective. So now it's £400 a year that you are paying towards your immigration health surcharge, and they are looking to increase this from 400 to 624 pounds a year. So
Whoa.
2.5 years leave to remain in the country, whereas before you were paying £1,000 for the immigration health surcharge, you would now be paying an extra £500 to be able to make the application. So now it's not the £1,000, you're paying 1,500 thereabouts to the Home Office in terms of the immigration health surcharge. And can you imagine if you are making the application with dependents? One person currently is about
Person. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
£2,052, and now you're going to be paying 2,560 something pounds. So you think about it and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is a lot of money.
Yes.
But if you are able to obviously work, then it means that maybe the chances are you can save up and then pay for it. But if your situation is such that you cannot pay for the fees and the fees of your dependents, then you might as well apply for a fee waiver, like we discussed last week, for you to be able to make that application as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
at least we have some days to look forward to this new immigration health surcharge. But for now, it's still the same amount. Once it increases, I will let viewers know.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Laura Eunice. Quickly, if you could give us your contact details to say if anyone watching us would like to come and see you to help him or her to put in an application for leave to remain based on family life. We've really overspent our time, but just quickly, if you could give your details.
Yes. So, as you said, I'm a solicitor at BWS Solicitors, and my number is 075 35 81 3910. So 075-3581-3910. And in terms of our offices, we are situated in Seven Sisters. We're open from Monday to Friday. We are 214 to 218 High Road, Tottenham High Road. Our postcode is N15 4NP, and our office number is 0208 493 7340. So 0208 493 7340. Thank you so much, Vicky, and hopefully we'll catch up during the week.
Thank you too. Thank you too. And my regards to the BWF family and your family at home as well for releasing you to spend over an hour with us, educating us. Very much appreciated. So, Laura Eunice, take good care of yourself. And I'll see you in the same time next Saturday. Stay blessed.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, so there you are. We are done with our legal hour. So we'll end the show, and I'm hoping to come back again in the next 15 minutes with another guest coming on. She's the CEO of Honey Hemis. She'll be here to share her story with us. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in 15 minutes. Stay blessed. Love you.
At BWF Solicitors, we take pride in our client service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. BWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.